So a good afternoon to everybody who is here today. My name is Adeolu Akiemi, and I'm the one anchoring the first 4 chapters of the book review of The Science of Getting Rich today. One of these you will always enjoy in my presentation and in my review is the opportunity of my lens and my perspective. And because I'm a person of faith, like most of us in the room are, there are things that I needed to align with my with my belief, with my Bible. Some of you are here, you probably need to align with your Quran, whatever it is that your faith is. You need to be able to understand this in your own unique language so that you can make the most of it. So in these meetings that I'll be doing these reviews, I'll be sharing a little bit of my own lens as we review together. And I think my lens is not a bad lens because I have used this material, I've executed on this material, and I've been able to see some level of results. I've tested out a few things and I've seen it work. And I know that it does work if we apply it. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we believe that it is time for the people in our business to begin to do things in a certain way and be able to achieve phenomenal results that will transform their business, transform their lives, transform their families, and allow us all to be able to have significant impact to the people around them. Somebody says, how can members outside Lagos access the book? We sent the book electronically on all the member forums. So in all the member forums for October Abundance and all the member forums for different forums, what we did was we shared these books. So the book is available to everyone. Everyone has an electronic copy. We got access to the book for free, and freely we are given, freely we also give. So this is one of those books that it doesn't cost you to get, but it costs you to understand. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to roll on this together. Don't worry if you have not read. You have a lot of catching up to do. Ask the person that invited you to get you a copy of the book. The book will rock some of your old beliefs, but don't worry. You have a guided tour. So we're here to guide you and ensure that this becomes your reality. And I'll tell you something very interesting. I'm going to do a training on this for the people who are not on Brain Mondays in the future. And like I said, these trainings I do, the particular thing you're going through today, if you had paid 500,000 naira to join a particular group that I trained, you probably won't even have learned some of the things you are learning today. So I want to encourage you, if you are here today, I want to encourage you that, you want to ensure that you maximize this opportunity and you learn. Maximize this opportunity to learn. Okay, so as we're here together sharing, please pay attention and learn. Take your notes, write, documents. I have my own jotter and my journal here. I encourage everybody to always have their journal in hand and be able to document. Okay, so I learned these things that I'm about to share with you about 12 years ago, and I was able to test the things that I was learning, and I was able to achieve some results based on those tests. So I know for a fact that if you can get your mind wrapped around this, you will get phenomenal results. So what are we looking forward to today as we commence? I'll share my screen and we'll take it on from there as well. Okay, so I believe you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, you can say yes. And if you cannot see my screen, then if you want to see one yes, then you know that you are on your own, because some people can see the screen already. Okay, great. I can see yes. Now, I'd like to remind you that this course that we're attending cost us 500,000 naira. If you're in this room and you have not paid, it is because an act of generosity was extended to you to also be a part of this class. And I would not like you to forget it, because except people pay money, they don't pay attention. Okay, now when you pay money, it is very likely that you will pay attention. And I like to remind us of this and remind us of this, because I would like you to really pay attention, because there will be no point sharing so much value with us if we will not utilize it. And the reason why many people don't utilize it is because they didn't pay, they are also not paying attention. So if you are here in this room today, I want to congratulate you again for being here. We started yesterday, and a few people have reached out to me from yesterday already that they already have testimonies. They already have coincidences. They already have amazing connections happening for them. In fact, somebody kept me up till 3 a.m. this morning, sharing with me amazing things that are happening already in less than 24 hours. And I don't know if there's anybody here today who is experiencing any amazing coincidences this course began already, or you're seeing something that you're like, wow, you know, how did that happen? I was expecting this to happen along the line, but something good is happening already. If that is happening to you, and you are in the house, you can just, you know, show an emoticon in the house, just show something to let us know. Reality is, of course, we have the next 40 days to have examples of things to share. One day is quite fast. I tell people, the people that come and share testimonies, that the reader worked for them in 1 hour. You know, they make it look like, well, what about the people that need to wait for 30 days? What are the people that need to do a plan for 90 days? Okay, all of them are good. The ones that come early and the ones that come later on. But it's very important for us to know that what we're going through is valuable, and that we did an IOU to make the payments. Okay, so, and you know, there's value you can get from it. I can see an emoticon already, somebody thumbing up, Adeline, awesome, you know, awesome, you know. So nothing is going to happen to you. You need to start by expecting. So I like to encourage everybody, expect things to happen today. Expect things to happen. In the members meeting at 6 p.m., expect things to happen. So today we want to do a quick book review of The Science of Getting Rich. And it says the original retro first edition, 1910. I don't know if you observed, but this book was published in 1910. Okay, that was before aeroplanes, that was before air travel, it was before solar industries, before a number of things that were mentioned in the book that have become reality today. The book was published before they happened. And I don't know if you know what 1910 means, but 1910 means also before television. 1910 means, you know, before a lot of development, technology, IT, before computers, before a lot of things were made. The world was worried at this time about the sustainability of power, how things were going to be able to reach into the various things, and all of these things. You know, and essentially, you know, it was written. It's an old book. So if you're reading the book today, it means this book was written 110 years ago. And we have the privilege of sitting down together and reviewing it. And it was given to all of us and available to us for free. Isn't that amazing? Now, every training has a code. If you didn't attend the training, it's the only reason you will not know the code. So if you're in the training, if you listen to the training to the end, you will find the code. If you didn't listen to the training to the end, you'll be confused about where the code is. Okay, so please pay attention. The code for this training is different from yesterday's code, and it's a test to know whether you are there. Now, we said that wealth is an internal game. It's an inner game. And in that inner game, one of the things that needs to get, you know, begins to get shaped is our thinking. And we said what to expect: a book review, which is what we'll be doing right away. We're going to be sharing thoughts. There'll be a few assignments. There'll be introduction for practical applications. And we expect to see a lot of coincidences, connections, and testimonies. Okay, this will be all our reality. So we want to look at the book together. For those of us who have read, I'm just going to basically take us through a few key points of things you will find in this book. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that you're unclear about and you want to understand, there's a question in your mind, feel free to ask and we will take care of them together. Okay, so I'm going to take the book line by the key things that stood out for me. That's the format I'm going to use, and that's the format I'm going to encourage everyone who's going to be doing a review with us to just basically do a small slide and show us the things that stood out for them. So I'm going to be showing you some of the things that stood out for me. So the first one here says, no excuses. There is no excuse for failing in the science of getting rich. No excuse. Abundance is our birthright. Any problem lies in our confusion. It lies in our confusion and not knowing. So if there's any problem with becoming wealthy, it's because you don't know how to apply the natural laws. Okay? If you learn how to apply the laws, if you learn how to apply these laws, you will be wealthy. You will be rich. Okay? If you learn how to apply the laws, you will be rich. If there's any confusion whatsoever that happens, it will be because of lack of clarity in how to use these laws. If you are ready to learn the laws and to use the laws, you're welcome. You are in the right place. So the first one I'm going to look at together is chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1, the title of chapter 1 is The Right to be Rich. Okay, and chapter 1 basically talks about the fact that we all have a right to be rich. And that right is basically on the premise of the fact that, you know, in my own words, there's a good God over the universe who loves us as his dear children or his dear people and made provision for us to be wealthy. that the universe is abundant, it is individuals that are poor. The universe is abundant, it is individuals that are poor. That if all the wealth in the world was broken down and shared amongst all the inhabitants of the world, all of us will have our own White House. All of us will have our own regular food supplies. There will be $1 million of value for us to drive things with. Everybody will be incredibly wealthy. The universe is wealthy. It is individuals that are poor. So the first key thoughts you find here basically allude to the fact that wealth is our right. Okay, and I don't know if this stood out for you, but these are some of the thoughts that stood out for me. One, life is about advancement and growth, and being rich supports this advancement and growth. So if you look at everything in nature, if you look at the plants, it is growing. If you look at the tree, it is growing. If you look at an animal, it is growing. If you look at us, we start small and we're growing. Everything in life is about advancement. Being rich helps with this advancement. So being rich is a right. No person should be satisfied with little if they are capable of using and enjoying more. The only reason why you should be satisfied with little is if you are not capable of using it or you're not capable of enjoying more. Okay? If you are capable of using it and capable of enjoying more, yeah, then you should be able to have as much as you can. You need to have. If you are hearing me loud and clear, just drop in the message there. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Some people are not hearing so loudly, so they need to know if it's their internet source that's giving them a problem or if there's some breaking happening from my end. Okay, so I can hear loud and clear. It means it must be remote. Now, number 3, every person naturally wants to become all that he's capable of becoming. This desire to realize our innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things, and you can have the free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. Okay? This makes the knowledge of science of getting rich one of the most important things to learn. Because in living your fullest life, in aspiring to the highest and fullest life you can live, the world is designed in such a way that you will need resources. Resources help the advancement of life, help the advancement of you becoming all you desire to be, all your innate potentials, everything that God gave you that you look at and call potentials will only come to their full manifestation where there is money. So getting rich is important because it helps you to live to the fullest of your potentials. You will need to exchange money for the different values that you need. So it is very important that you are rich. Okay? There's a very interesting quote I found here. It says, "My right to be rich and happy and successful, money flows to me freely, copiously, and endlessly." Somebody wants to type that. You can type that in the window and say, "It is my right to be rich, happy, and successful. Money flows to me freely, copiously, and endlessly." Okay, I'm basically just reinforcing the fact that it's our right to be rich because riches are required for us to live to our full potentials. Okay, some people get spooky when we're talking about money. They feel, no, money is only a tool. It's only a tool for exchanging value. It's a currency for being able to calibrate value and make the exchange of value easy. And if it's going to be value, I'm going to need to achieve my life aims and to achieve the things that I desire to achieve and to be the kind of person I want to be, then I will need these riches. So this knowledge becomes one of the most important things you need to learn because they help you actualize the things that you want to actualize. Okay, a few other thoughts that struck me. We need to have full expressions in our body, our mind, and our soul. Now, this language is different from the language we understand today. Some of us will say body, soul, and spirit. The author used body, mind, and soul to basically capture the same thing. So it captured the body as body, it captured the mind as the soul as the mind, and it captured the spirit, it captured the spirit as the soul. Now, it is these key factors put together that create these possibilities and opportunities. So we need full expressions. If you're going to be able to be clothed and feed well, if you're going to be able to read and develop your mind, if you're going to be able to enjoy all of these key things, it will be because very clearly, you have resources to be able to actualize and maximize all of these ends. Now, so desire is possibility-seeking expression, or as they say, it is function-seeking performance. Okay, that's what desire is. So every time you have a desire unsatisfied, it's something that is possible, it's potential that God placed in you that is not enjoying full manifestation. Okay, and once you understand this, that yeah, whatever has been placed in your heart by God as a desire, is qualified for manifestation, and that desire begins to make you look for the things that are available to make them come to pass. And somebody says, he says, if you neglect this study, you are derelict in your duty to yourself, to God, and to humanity. You can render God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. So if you and I understand that we are tools in God's hand and that will be used as harvest hands or used in different capacities to be a blessing, to make a difference, to give scholarships, to start orphanages, to do NGOs, to support causes, then I am derelict in my duty if I don't learn all that I need to learn to be of the highest use that I can be in this world. Okay, so I want to be in the highest use that I can be. I want to offer the highest value that I can offer. And it is only as I pay attention to the learnings that makes me able to do this, that is when I'm using my education well. So I like that part. It stood out for me. It says, if you neglect this study, you are derelict in your study to yourself, duty to yourself, to God and to humanity. You can render God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. So if you and I are tools, then our greatest value is when we are valuable, when we are able to make the most of ourselves. That's when we can be a blessing to others. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are here in this house and you are saying, I commit to this education, just type in that window, I commit to this education. Okay, I commit to this education. And that, my friends, is chapter 1. Very quickly, that was all we found in chapter 1. Okay, we take the journey a little further and we go to chapter 2. Okay, so we take the journey further and say, okay, good. So what does chapter 2 have to say? Good. Someone said community education. It says there's a science of getting rich. Now, this whole idea of getting rich is actually scientific. And in chapter 2, we begin to see some very interesting concepts about this science. Okay, and not too long for what chapter 2, here are a few things that stood out for me. It says here that just like 1 + 1 = 2, the same way 1 + 1 is 2 with mathematical certainty, also, if you learn the science of getting rich, you will get rich certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you commit yourself to the learning that we're going through over the next 7 days, and you are not a learner alone, you are actually applying the things you're learning. If you put them to work in your own life and in your business, you will certainly get rich. Okay? Mathematical precision, the same way 1 + 1 is 2, then you can add the few things together that will get you the desired results. Okay, if you are excited about that reality, you can put an emoticon up there and just dance, put fire, put shout, put whatever, but let us know that this is making sense to you. So it says wealth comes from doing things in a certain way. Okay, wealth comes when we do things in a certain way, either intentionally or accidentally. The people who become rich in this world are people who do things in a certain way, whether they are conscious of this class or not, whether they are doing it accidentally or judiciously. Once you do things in this certain way, you will become rich. The people who become poor are people who don't do things in a certain way. So the author basically makes clear that, you become rich or poor based on a certain formula of doing things. And if you are able to stumble upon this, you will get good results. If you don't stumble upon this, then you will have poor results. And be very clear, it doesn't have anything to do with the environment. Somebody will say, if I can just go to America, if I go to Canada, if I go to Dubai, if I go to China, I will become rich. It has nothing to do with your environment. A lizard in Nigeria is a lizard everywhere in the world. Until your nature changes, your manifestation will not change. Okay, so wealth has nothing to do with your environment. Of course, there are environments that are more suitable for particular sales of particular products than other ones, general limitation guidelines. But your environment does not determine whether you'll be rich, because in the same environment, we have poor people and wealthy people. In fact, they live as next door neighbors in many places. It's not your environment. It is not talent. Somebody will think, if I have good talent, I have high talent, then I have more chances. You don't have more chances. You just need basic life skills. Basic life survival skills is what is enough for you to be wealthy. You do not need, it's not high talent. It's not driven by high talent. Okay, people who have talent are poor. People who don't have talent are rich. People who have talent are rich. People who have talent are poor. They exist in different phylums. Rich, you find from talented and non-talented. Poor, you find from talented and non-talented. Talent doesn't cut it. Also, savings culture or being thrifty doesn't solve it. Some people are saving and they are poor. Some people are saving and they are rich. Some people are not saving and they are poor. Some people are not saving and they are rich. It has nothing to do really with the savings culture. It doesn't also have to do with a particular business. I'm sure somebody has told you, come and join our own network marketing company, or come and join our own business. If you join our business, that is where you will make money. No, it is about you. Okay, it is not about joining a particular business. It's about you and your ability to do things in a certain way. The reason why you will succeed in this business is because in this business you have the opportunity to learn the things that makes you begin to work and operate in a certain way. Okay, there are a few things that can be general limitations. So, like if you are selling, if you are trying to sell products in a place where no human being exists, you have only yourself and your family as your customer. Of course, you want to move to a place where people exist because people are important. Okay, if you need a particular skill set for the particular kind of business you want to do, then you probably need to learn a new skill. But generally, these are general things. The real deal is doing things in a certain way. Once you find and get this formula and begin to implement it, once you find and begin to implement it, everything that needs to change will change. Okay. If you, from where you are today, and this is the opinion of the author, from where you are today, if you begin to think and act in a certain way, begin to do business in a certain way, guess what begins to happen? You begin to find that if you need to change your job, it will change. If you need to change the way you are doing your business, it will change. If you need to find new friends, you will find them. If you need to connect with new people, it will happen. That what triggers that entire process is beginning to work in a certain way. If you are here in the house today and you are curious to know this certain way to work, I will say stay tuned as we go into chapter 3. So this is chapter 3 review. Chapter 3 review says, is opportunity monopolized? And ladies and gentlemen, this chapter is a response to people who are always complaining, who are always lamenting, who are always wondering, are things going well? Nigeria is bad, government is not doing anything, our industry, our employers have kept us bound, something is happening. People always feel opportunities monopolized by some people. There's a connected class in Nigeria, the people that are linked with people in government. These are the people that are making the real money. Then they are the children of the rich. These also have opportunity. Then they are this, they are that. They are the Abuja people. They are the Lagos people. They are the island people. Ladies and gentlemen, opportunity, is it monopolized? That was the discussion of chapter 3. And it says opportunity is not monopolized. There is abundance of opportunity for the man who will get along with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share this with you. It struck me, and I think it should strike you as well. There is a tide. There is a tide. There's a currency. There's a flow of things. There's what we call trends. You hear trend, you hear tide, you hear direction, you hear market flow. There's a direction in which the market is flowing, and there's abundance for the person who will go with this tide instead of trying to swim against it. Okay, and it's very interesting that you need to begin to realize that in the flow of this tide, there are opportunities. Okay, and nobody is restricted. There's nothing that disqualifies you. Nobody is restricted from making more or being more by any tide. Okay, once you understand the tide and you don't go against the laws, you flow with the laws, effortless victory. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance or mental slothfulness of his class. So you can say, employees will not be wealthy. No, that's not true. Some employees will not be wealthy. Nothing in that class locks you in. Okay? The individual worker is not held down. Say, these people at this level, they don't succeed. They are people, they don't do this big business. Or something about your class. Your class has nothing to do with it. By following the tide of opportunity, you can be rich. And this book will tell you how to follow that tide, because it's all about acting and living in a certain way. And then in this chapter as well, it was opined that in nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The original substance from which everything was made is infinite and eternal. Okay, that the things that were used to make the universe, that were used to create the universe, are both infinite and they are eternal. There are no boundaries, no cut shots, no shrinking. There is the original stuff from which everything was made, permeates the universe. And some of this language may not sit well with you. So I can also help you modify this language to sit within the context of what makes sense to most of us, for most of our faiths. To say what exactly is the original substance, how does this feature in my Bible, how does this work with what I understand. So say if you're looking for comfort for your faith, the worlds were framed by thoughts and by the words of God. The Bible says he holds all things together by the power of his word. So if you're looking and asking what is this formless substance, what is the original substance, what is it that everything was created from, I think the biggest comfort you find is, for example, that there's a spirit, God's Holy Spirit is not contained. Okay, he basically feels all in all. Okay, Bible says he feels all in all. Okay, it says, if you look at the story of creation, you will see it says the earth was without form. Okay, it was formless and it was void. And then it says the Spirit of God moved over the face of the deep. So that formless structure of the earth is permeated by God, essentially. So in case you're looking for comfort for your faith, there it is there. It can make sense to you that way. So what says exactly? I was wondering. Okay. So if you look at the stories of creation, I think basically what you want to do is go back to the story of creation that resonates with you, and then you'll see some of these key elements featuring there as well. Okay. So the formless response to the needs of humans, it will not let them be without any good thing. And of course, if you go through plethora of writing and the documents of scripture, you will find that no good thing will he withhold from them who walk uprightly. And really basically saying, for as long as you are in alignment, you will get access to good things. If you are hearing me and the audio is not breaking, just say, I'm hearing loud and clear, the audio is clear, so that if it's breaking somewhere, people can know that it's there, is a local issue. And then don't worry, the recorded version will be available so that everybody can get access to it as well. Thank you very much for helping to clarify. So the race as a whole is always abundantly rich. So the human race is rich, okay, abundantly rich. Individuals are poor, okay. So if individuals are poor, is because they do not follow a certain way of doing things, which makes individual man rich. Okay, if anybody that is poor, it is because they are not following, they are not following the certain way. So if it is clear in some places and it's not clear in some places, it means it's clear from here. It is a local issue. Okay, so the human race is wealthy, individuals are not. Okay, and if you want to be a wealthy individual, you need to follow the certain way of doing things as well. And I like this particular quote about nature as well. It says nature is formed for the advancement of life. Okay, its motive is the increase of life. For this reason, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. You are not kept poor by the shortness in the supply of riches. The reason why people are poor is not because there's a shortness in supply. It is because they've not learned to do things in a certain way. Okay, if you are here today and you want to begin to do things in a certain way, can you type in that chat box there, I am ready. I am ready. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the review for chapter 3. Okay, I can see people that are ready with speed. Good. Now, so we now have to review for chapter 4. And chapter 4 was like the longest chapter amongst this. So that's where we're probably going to have the most conversations as well. So for chapter 4, the document became a little longer. If you have not read, please read. See this as my introduction to help you get it when you read it. I've always been a tutorial master, so I basically help to demystify and break it into easy to remember concepts so that when you are reading, it can be an easy read for you. Somebody says fully ready. Good. So let's talk about this. This is the first principle in the science of getting rich. So all of the first 3 chapters was laying foundation. Now we want to get into the meat of the matter. Okay, so the first principle. And ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. If you have questions, document them. We'll have an opportunity to ask our questions and ensure that we are all clarified so that we can get all of this together and we can experience the boom that is about to happen to us in October, November, December this year. People are going to break records this month. People are going to break record over the next 3 months. It will be amazing. Okay, so let me share with you the key things that stood out in chapter 4. So it says, first principle, it says you may want to go back to the creation story you believe, and this is my own lens sharing this with you because some things there can spook you. You may want to go back to your creation story that you believe and check that it aligns with the defined creative process. From my own analysis, it is on point, okay? Because in the story I'm familiar with, it says in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and without void. There was no form and there was void, and all of creation was just an open, formless space. And how creation began was God, the Bible says the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. So let's say it was brooding, which would mean he was thinking. And then while he was doing that, he now said, let there be light. Okay, I usually tell people there are 3 forms in which our thoughts manifest. Our thoughts have liquid, they have solid, they have gas, liquid, and solid. And I said the gaseous form is thoughts, the liquid form is words, and the solid form is action. So they say action speak louder than words. Okay, and of course, words are formed from thoughts. So go back to your Christian story, ensure that this sits well with you, because if there's a conflict between your faith and the things you are going here, you will achieve nothing. Okay, I like the way the Bible says, it says, if you have multiple thoughts, if you are double-minded, it says, let such a person not think he can receive anything from God. So once there's a contradiction in your mind, you want to settle that contradiction so that you can understand the principle and position and play it well. So it says here, so you want to go back to that story. So thoughts, the raw materials of words, were used to shape the visible world from the invisible form. What permeates the visible and invisible is the spirit, thoughts, and words. So somewhere within your faith, you'll be able to make allusions to see the spirit, see the words, and the thoughts that come from this original substance. But every thought of form held in this thinking substance, so every thought that I project into the universe, into this space, causes the creation of that form, but always, or at least generally, along the lines of growth and action already established. What does this mean? What this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that if I think, if I hold the thought of a fully grown tree, for example, then it says that that tree, the moment I hold that thought, begins to start. Now, that thought will motivate me to plant a seed. That seed will begin to gradually grow. But that manifestation of what I put in the thought will come according to the lines of growth. So normally that tree that I have will become a reality in 5 years' time, because that seed that I planted takes 5 years to get to maturity. That is organic. If I hold a house in my thoughts, that house will require cement, it will require an architect, it will require different things. Now, the moment I hold that thought in the substance, guess what happens? The process of commerce, of trade by barter, of exchange, of buying and selling, of doing business, and different forms of creative activity begins to happen to make what I have set as a goal begin to happen along the lines of action already established. If it happens faster than it should happen, then I have what I call a miracle. If it happens in the normal pace, I still have creation happening. So no thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. Okay? Every effect must generate its own, every effect will generate its own results. Okay? Every input will generate its own output. If I form a thought upon the formless substance, if I carry my thoughts along the spaces of this of the universe, it will be formed. It's just a matter of the normal channels of growth that it will come through. Now, it now says further that a human being is a thinking center and can originate thoughts, that we are capable of originating thoughts. We are capable of joining God in the creative process. We are made with the capacities to create, and we can originate thoughts. Okay? Now, when we originate thoughts, all the forms that a person fashions with his hands must first emerge from his thoughts. He cannot shape a thing until he has thought about it first. So everything that was made from what was not seen. The visible is made from the invisible. This chair I'm sitting on today was first somebody's thoughts. Okay? This chair today was for somebody's thoughts. This phone was somebody's thoughts. This laptop was somebody's thoughts before it ever became a physical reality. Now, so he said it this way. He says, working with thoughts in your mind. Somebody called it visualization. Okay? And forming them out is manual labor. So if you're just working with thoughts in your mind and forming them, that's manual labor. It says only when we seek alignment with the trend of the universal intelligence that we begin to create. Like the real creative process is working in tandem with the universal intelligence. And this guy basically takes a few excerpts from the Bible and puts them in this chapter. Okay? As someone says, everything was created twice. So first of all, in your thoughts, and then before it happens in reality, everything was created twice. So those thoughts also solidify the same point. Excellent. Now look at this third one. And I think it was very interesting because it stood out for me from inside the book as well, where he says, says anybody who is involved in manual labor, who is basically just shaping things with his hand and trying to do only what he can do with his hand without his mind or without aligning with God, is basically doing something contrary to what Jesus said. And this is what exactly lifted out here, the words of Jesus. He says to walk with the Father, and he says he has not dreamed that he can do what he sees the Father doing. And I found this very interesting because of my faith, and I can share a few thoughts with you here. Because what he's saying here is, because these were words lifted literally from what Jesus Christ said. Jesus Christ said, I'm working with the Father, I see what the Father does, and I do it also. Now what he's saying here is that God is the creator. God has a will, has a plan, and it is God's desires, God's potentials installed in you that wants to seek and get expression. And that if you can walk in alignment with the trend of what God wants to do and is doing in the earth, you will find yourself in a space where you will walk with the Father and you will do what you see the Father doing. This, for me, is mind-blowing. Oh, it blows my mind to say, you know what, I can join in this alignment for creating value because I know, does God want people to be rich? Yes. Am I collaborating to ensure that people have resources to be able to do his will and his pleasure? Yes. Am I in the journey of helping people to become treasurers and financiers and stewards in various capacities that will be a blessing to society, even if they're not of my faith? Even if they're not of my faith, people will do good things. People will help the helpless. People will meet the needs of orphans. People will still do, everybody still wants to do great things. So guess what? If I understand the stream, if I understand the tide of flow, okay, that the world is moving into a space where things are being decentralized. The world is moving into a place where there's distribution. The world is moving into a place where people can eat natural things and be healthy again. The world is moving into a place where even though everything is disconnecting us, it's an opportunity for us to reconnect back and do things together as a family. The world is coming to a place where there can be harmony and there can be unity. If I understand the trends and the tide of life, I can seek to align and I can walk with the Father, yeah, and I can do what I see the Father do. It's amazing. Okay, and then in that same chapter, it says there's a thinking stuff, and these are three very interesting creeds that, you know, basically the book says memorize this, note this, believe this. Anything that wants to change your thoughts from this, consider it as a sin. Okay, and it says there's a thinking stuff, and for people like me and you probably have a problem, you know, calling God's word a thinking stuff, or calling God's universe a thinking, but you can, like I said, you can align it with your faith and say exactly how it fits. But it says here there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made. And he writes it in capital. And which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. That every space around you, everything around you is connected. Okay? That any effort that I put from here, anything I do from here, I can have access into everything in the universe. Okay? Somebody says that's Jesus. Okay, if you read Colossians, it says the fullness of him that fills all in all. Yeah. You know, the fullness of him fills all in all. Yeah, so it says, and this is a thinking stuff. It's something that responds to thinking, it responds to thoughts, it responds to meditation. And it says, a thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thoughts. If I visualize and I cast my visualization, my cares into a space where I look at them and I ensure that I'm looking forward into a creation, I want to create something of the future, any thought that I imprint, okay, produces what was imaged. I says, and a person can form things in his thoughts, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Somebody wants to explain this in simple language and says that this person is talking about prayer. To say, the moment you have something you want to achieve, you lay it upon the invisible substance, you make the demand for what it is, and then it becomes reality. Okay? Somebody is quoting a Bible verse to allude to it. He's saying Proverbs 23:7. You can quote it for us so that everybody can also share from your gleanings. Okay, but these three key elements are things that you need to really understand. That first of all, there's this thinking stuff. There's an original material from everything that was made, which in its original state permeates and fills the entire interspace of the universe. That a thought that is held in this substance produces a thing that is image, and a person can form thoughts and impress his thoughts upon the formless substance, and it can cause the thing he thinks to be created. Okay, and I think it's deeper than as a man thinks in his heart so is he. Okay, so as a man thinks that's so is he, yes, we're a reflection of our thoughts. That's beautiful and that's true. But it's saying here that I can create the things that I think about. I can create wealth by thinking that I want to create wealth. I can build a house that didn't exist. I can build an estate in an expanse of land that didn't exist before because I imagined it in my mind and I impressed it. I impressed upon God. I made it known to God that is what I want. I prayed it into reality. And it starts from my thought. It starts, and I know that if I impress it upon the universe, it creates this value. And if I want to say it in my own language, you probably need to come straight on Sunday. But for the sake of everybody else, who have their faith, these are the standard key elements to note and to memorize. Okay, and this is a science. It means 1 + 2 + 3 will give me 6. And here are a few thoughts, other thoughts that you find in the book. It says to do things in a certain way. Very good. You can influence your thoughts and make it your desire. I can impress your thoughts upon the formless substance and it will create a creation. Awesome. It says to do things in a certain way, you must think in a certain way. So it brings us to the thought shared by Mrs. Obulesi there, where she says, as a man thinks, so is he. It says to do things in a certain way, you must think in a certain way. Okay, because you're thinking how you think is how you will do. This is the first step towards getting rich. To think what you want to think is to think truth, regardless of appearances. Now, this is a very crucial point. It is tough to hold on to the image that is truth in the presence of the visible signals you are feeling. You are saying, I am rich, and your present reality shows that there is nothing in your pocket. Now, that really thinking and holding to thinking a certain way is laborious work. Okay? And his ability to think the things that are not as though they were, this is your first activity. So to think through regardless of appearances is laborious. It requires an expenditure of more power than any other work a person has to perform. Okay? That this is the highest level of work. And I will show you by example from the story of creation that we are familiar with. Now, the Bible says for 6 days, God made the heavens and the earth. While he was making, what was he doing? He was saying in his thoughts into being. If I can leave you the revelation there in Matthew 6, you find, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? What shall we drink? It means that the act of speaking is actually the act of taking hold of a thought. Speaking is taking hold of a thought. When you take hold of a thought, you will say. So it says, take no thought, saying. It means that the act of speaking is actually the act of channeling the thoughts that I have into something that I have taken. So we see that in the act of creation for 6 days, all that God was doing was taking thoughts. Basically, he was taking his thoughts and he was saying them. And he said it for 6 days. Let there be light where there was no light, and there was light. And that was the work that he did the first day. And it says, let there be days, and there was that. And that was the work for the second day. And because that was tedious work, he rested. So as a human being as well, the capacity I have to be able to hold on to what I believe in the light of contrary, that is work. Okay, so I need to be able to think and impress based on those thoughts. Now, it requires power to think health when you are surrounded by the appearances of disease, or to think riches when you are in the midst of the appearance of poverty. But it is he who acquires this power that becomes a mastermind. He can conquer fate, he can have what he wants. Okay? Anybody who acquires the power to think health when all around is disease, to think rich when all around is poor, to think about the things that are true and real, like you saw shared here, whatever it is are lovely, true, of good report, of value, think of these things. Whatever it is that falls into this category of what is noble, what is right, what is pure, what is just a word of good report, that, is the ability to think that in the face of whatever else is just seen as reality. This is work. Now, and it's only who acquires this power that becomes a mastermind. So if you're in the house today and in the next 7 days you want to become, or in the next 40 days, you want to become a mastermind, can you declare ahead, I am a mastermind? Just write in that place, I am a mastermind. The power to think this thought must come from recognizing that the worlds were framed and held by one God, okay? It must come from recognizing that this world was framed and formed by one God, and there's one God that holds the entire universe together. He made the universe and the multiverse, this God, and it is by impressing my thoughts and visualizing in alignment with the trend that he's trying to do that gives me an opportunity to actually become a wealth creator. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how we create wealth. Okay, and I can see many masterminds in the house today. Masterminds are people who have acquired the power to be able to think truth in the face of lies. So somebody is telling you that your business will not produce 10 million naira on a weekly basis. That person is telling you a lie. My ability to hold on to the fact that I will get to Ruby Director, I will get to Black Diamond Director, I will build this till it makes sense. Okay, for example, is me being able to impress my thoughts upon the formless in such a way that even though all around me is looking like maybe not yet, maybe it's not working, but I am able to impress this reality until it becomes my reality. And then, of course, in that chapter as well, it says if you get mixed up in your faith, all your efforts will be in vain. So read these creed statements over and over again. Fix every word upon your memory. Meditate upon them until the family believe what they say. If doubt comes to you, cast it aside as a sin. This is what the author said. Quite brutal. Okay? Quite brutal. Somebody says faith without works. Oh, you have faith first, and then the work will come. It's when you are thinking in a certain way that you can begin to operate in a certain way. And you get to realize you can't believe and not work. Your real belief will inspire action. Real belief will inspire action. So if you have faith and there's no work, it's dead. It's dead on arrival. It doesn't even exist. Okay? It's dead. Now, it says here, the science of getting rich begins with the absolute acceptance of these realities. Debate them if you must, but you need to accept this fact as the starting point of all the other applications. Note, author uses language meant to carry every faith along, so you need to find how it resonates with your own faith and find the language that makes it believable for you, because this is a starting point of wealth creation. Okay? And for those who are watching, today's code is 10101. Today's code is 10101. Okay? And the place to put your comments is bit.ly/was present, capital W, capital P, was present, capital W, capital P. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the review of the book. I hope it's been value. I hope you have learned. I hope it has worked for you. And I hope that you are gingered to now read, if you have not read, or to go over it again and get ready for the next few chapters. I'm going to close this now, and then we will go into question